Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Flagged Off podcast. This is a weekly episode, and today we have two guests with us. Hello, Mani and Gautam. Sorry, Martin. Mani, how are you? And welcome to the show.
Hi guys, I'm doing well. I hope you guys are doing well as well. I saw your podcast for 3 episodes now. Really good stuff, really good analysis, and good conversations. Especially the last one was really good.
Okay.
And I'm glad to be a part of it this week. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the positive words, Mani. But before we move on to Martin, I just want to ask you a quick question. So, how good has it been supporting Liverpool for all these years, and with all the failed attempts, and you finally getting a few titles?
Definitely, the past 3 years has been the best time to support Liverpool. I think it's actually past 4 or 5 years since Klopp came in, and the Champions Trophy and also the Premier League kind of established what team we are, and finally put ourselves in a credible place. I think we are back on our perch now. So long may it continue.
Okay. We hope that you guys have a good season, but not right now. Please take a few seasons break before that happens. And anyway, now moving to Martin, aka Nelson Thambi. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
All good here so far, but we're waiting to hear your words. How has it been being a Liverpool fan for the past few years, or how long has it been?
I've been actually because of Gerrard. I was playing FIFA at a young age, and then Gerrard was there in the team, and then I started playing with him, and then I started following Liverpool because of him.
Okay.
Yeah, we've always been in the shadows of United and Chelsea. Ever since I started, it was United and Chelsea. Before that was Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah, right now it's a good time, like the prime time to follow them.
Okay, so I guess if you're a Liverpool fan because of Gerrard, then you must be used to slip-ups. So this season shouldn't be a problem for you if such a thing happens. But anyway, we'll see. So anyway, coming on to the warmers, Nurushan, Gautam and Sashank, how have you guys been, and do you guys want to add something before we dive into the segments?
I'm very happy.
I'm not very happy.
Okay, guys, so we'll get into your emotions and feelings as it goes on. So, to the viewers, we have two segments this week. One will be the game week rundown and the match analysis, and the second would be a small discussion on the transfers of all the clubs or the key clubs involved. So, guys, with the game week results, I would just like to mention the key results before we go on into the fixtures that we are going to have a look at. Everton continuing the great form, got a 4-2 result. Leeds City will be one of the key discussions, a great result for Leeds. Leicester is again an inconsistent result, poor form. West Ham get an away win there. And apart from that, I think all the other teams have gotten a result. But United and Liverpool have failed big time on the big stage. So that will again be one of the key discussions. So guys, let's start off with Leeds and City. Huge result for Leeds. They've come into the Premier League with great hopes, with a lot of excitement and a lot of support from most football fans there, hoping that they would do well or they would be decent. And so far, they've done great. So Gautam, before we have a word on that, what do you think Leeds are going to offer in the Premier League this season based on the results? How big a result was this game? And what is Bielsa bringing into the Leeds in Premier League?
So, to start off with, I'm actually not so surprised about the result that they pulled off a point against City. But guys, in all reality, we need to know that the football that Bielsa is trying to bring to the Premier League, and that's what we need to acknowledge. I feel like if you guys actually have seen the last 4 games, Leeds have played better against top teams compared to mid-table or bottom-table teams. And especially if you watch the game, you would have seen that Leeds have a completely different dynamic in terms of how they play against teams who are very good on the counter-attack or who do completely focused on possession play. So specific to this game was a complete opposite of how small teams play against big teams. They actually made an example on how small teams can actually play against big teams, specifically in terms of possession play. And it's a big surprise for me to actually see that Leeds have more possession than City. So Leeds had about like 53% compared to 47 of City, if I'm not wrong. But in all reality, what I have to say is that this team is here to stay, and we're going to be talking about Leeds week in, week out on how they are there to show that they are here to stay, and especially the key elements that Bielsa brings into the game in terms of the counter-attacking football. And if you see that Leeds should have won the game, they did miss a couple of one-on-ones as well as great saves from Edison throughout the game. And another thing, the downside of City team, what I see is that they are struggling in a way like how Chelsea was struggling before this last fourth game. They don't have a solid lineup yet. They have players who are injured. They don't know their definitive backline. So all this is accumulative to the results that we're seeing in the Premier League right now.
Maybe they don't have any strikers there. That's the biggest problem. So without it, they have like playing Mahrez at yeah. So it's going to be a tough season, but I think Ruben Dias look good.
Yeah, imagine trying to get Foden a full-time chance, but at the end of the day, I mean, like Foden having like a 90-minute play during the whole session. This never happened the last couple of seasons, so it's crazy.
Right. We'll see how it goes.
But again, coming back to one more thing to talk about Leeds. If Leeds can pull off the results and get points of the big sides, where do you think that Leeds could finish in this season of the Premier League?
Ideally, for me, I feel like they should be a top 10 finishing club, but I feel like they're going to be pushing for more because if you see that realistically they had at the end of the day they're the English champions once upon a time, so that is where they want to be. So I'm sure that's like a 5-season goal, but for you to have a 5-season goal, you need to progress every season. So
But
you need to be taking one step front and not take 2 steps backwards. So
okay, and I think the first impression of Leeds has been really, really good. It's been better than expected considering the fixtures that they've had to deal with being promoted into the Premier League. So I think it's going to be a great season for them. But let's see that going forward and how it is. But before we wind up with that result, just one small word. Mani, would you like to add anything on City's fate so far? And do you think City could be contending for the title based on their showcase so far?
Yeah, so City, I think the problem was partnerships in centre backs. I think they keep changing it, and I believe the partnership they have right now, Diaz and Laporte, could work if they continue it. And if they keep changing it and the team sheet changes, I don't think they can compete for being champions right now. Because also in that game, they made a team sheet mistake. I think Silva should have been in the team. Silva should have started, Bernardo. I don't think Torres is good enough yet to start in a City team against Leeds. That was a big mistake from Pep's point of view, I think. But also, Nathan Ake could have started over Mendy because they've given so much time for Mendy. Mendy has had so many chances. He has wasted all of them. I think it's time to replace him. I know they bought Ake as a sub, but they should start using him as a left back because I think he's more solid defensively. His tackles are great. So
I completely agree with you there because Mendy, you remember the hype Mendy had. Everybody was he was one of the best left backs in the world, and to see him get injured a lot, but also he's so bad defensively. Even in the Leicester game, gave away the penalty. He's not living up to his hype. And I want to also ask Martin. So Martin, what do you think about City? Can they compete with Liverpool this season, or do you think Liverpool are going to win it again?
I actually have like a completely different view on what City can do. I don't think like their backline is a problem. That's okay, but if you see, like I think the main problem is not having a proper CDM. Rodri is good. Okay, everyone knows Rodri is good, but if you see, he's not like the guy to stop counters. He is a good facilitator. That is it. He has size and he can win air balls, but he's like for Fabinho, right? He stops counters. Like day one, he goes into tackles, stops the counters then and there. And if you see the successful years that City had, the first 2 years of Guardiola, Fernandinho was a rock at CDM. First name on the sheet. But he's a little old now, and then they had centre back problems last season. He was shifted, and now he doesn't want to play an older Fernandinho in front of Rodri, which won't look good for Rodri also. So he's like kind of like confused over there. But if you see, I think the CDM is the problem. He has to play. He has to get a Casemiro, Fabinho kind of guy. Fernandinho was that guy. He was a rock for them the first 2 seasons, and now they're missing that. Rodri is a facilitator. He's not a go ahead tackler. He won't like just stop the counter attacks. I think that's where it's a problem. And the back line is a mess, but I think the CDM is a bigger issue.
Yeah, City should have got Partey, I think.
Narushan, what is
Not
your take
happening,
on
bro.
that?
Yeah.
They didn't have a mascot to sign it.
First, like nobody. I don't think City. I don't think like City. I believe that they have the personnel. They just need to use them properly. And like we stated earlier, they just need more stability with respect to the backline. Once they figure out, okay, this is my back four, I think everything else will fall in place. And like you said, they need their focal point. If Aguero comes in, Aguero is going to transform this team. But then Aguero needs to stay fit. I don't want to talk about City actually, go further into City. I want to talk about Leeds. What impressed me about Leeds was Bielsa's philosophy. He does not, like, you've seen managers who change the game plan based on the opponents, and Bielsa is not that sort of a manager. His philosophy has always been, like he's openly stated, Leeds will play in a way where they will create goal scoring opportunities irrespective of the opponents. And I don't think they're going to change even if they're playing Liverpool. But what I really appreciate about Bielsa is he's not very stuck with his philosophy. He's a bit pragmatic about it. If there needs to be a change, he makes the changes. And when you have a manager who has a philosophy and who's pragmatic at the same time, that is a very dangerous combination, because you can give him a team of average players and he'll make them like really good. Like you look at the Leeds team, they do not have any like world class or world beaters. They are like, I mean, on the professional level, they are bang on average, but as a team, they're solid. And I really admire and appreciate that about Leeds. I'm like actually looking forward to seeing how they like progress. They could. I mean, I don't think they'll contend for the title, but they could have a say in who wins the title or the domestic cup competitions as well.
But again, Narushan, so what you mentioned is the most important thing in football, right? A group of 11 people who are average, playing together, understanding the philosophy, carrying out a single game plan, and becoming better than they're supposed to be individuals. So I think that's good for Leeds so far. We've heard positives, but at the same time, a year back or maybe even 2 years back, there wouldn't be so many holes to talk about in the City side and have so many different views which are all concurrent and which all are right? So I think City have a lot of work to do. Let's hope for the sake of football that they do it, but let's just also feel good that City are on a decline, maybe, because it's been a few bad results for them. Not just one or two, it's been a few bad results. Anyway, so thank you for that on the Leeds City game. And now comes one of the two spicy games. So I think I'd like to start off with United versus Spurs. I think there have always been bad games in every season for every club. You cannot be great on every day. There will be days when you're poor. It's all fine. But this game was downright bad. There was not even a second to talk about United. The only thing that we could say was Martial won a penalty early on. And that was way too early to even say that there was anything good. There was any positive to take. So just going in, Shashank, I'm going to be straight with that. How bad has Ole been in setting up the team? And what is happening at United? Is this just, it's not down to match fitness, it's not down to no game time, not being sharp. There's a bigger problem. Is there a bigger problem, or we just don't know what's happening?
100% there's a bigger problem. Okay, it's understandable that all these defenders are making mistakes, but at the same time, like I think Narushan mentioned in the last episode, where Greenwood never tracks back, the same problem. Now in this game, none of the guys did anything. There was no shape, and the whole thing with a good football team is to have a compact, a team which doesn't give go. There's no lack of shape, but this was horrid. Luke Shaw, unbelievable. I can't rest. The thing is, I can talk about 11 players who were bad, so there's no point going through that. It's just that there were, first of all, too many individual mistakes, and there were a lot of calls for Lindelof to be dropped. But look what happened with Bai. Bai had like a terrible game. He was responsible for a couple of goals. Maguire was responsible for a couple. Shaw was responsible for one. So I think this is one of the most depressing results. I think this was Ollie's worst game after that 4-0 against Everton. So this is what we had, and I don't know. It's going to be tough to make top 6 right now, looking at how it's going. So.
No, I just want to ask you guys, like Shashank and BK, like even though Ole's had some good wins, irrespective of the result, can you actually tell me that United has played well? Irrespective of the result, they might have had wins, but when you're looking only at that game, do you think that, okay, fine, they've played well, bro. Even though they lost, they played well. Because other teams have had that. But do you think United has had that since, not even since Ole has joined, like for the last 6 or 7 months of playing time?
See, I'd like to go there. I'll go first for this. See, if you're asking, are we playing well? I have to say no, because the benchmark is high, the expectations are high. Have we shown progress in the last 2 years? I believe it's a yes, okay? Because we were completely off. We were playing long balls. We were hoofing the ball to Fellaini. There was a total different thing. Mourinho had his own style. So all that we've progressed. That is progress. But again, it has come down to what progress have we had? I really don't know what progress have we had now, because when Ole took charge the first time, it was great. We had a good honeymoon period. We had a longer honeymoon period. We had a great start to that. Then the following season was so poor the first, and then again we did well to finish get the top 4. All of us know the top 4 was a huge thing. It went down to Leicester being bad. It went down to Chelsea also dropping down, all that. See, I still believe that Ole has a little bit of quality in him. He can do better. But right now, he's adamant in getting the best out of Pogba. He's adamant in getting the best out of that same front 4 of Greenwood on the right, Rashford on the left, Martial up front, and Bruno there. And right now, the problem is he doesn't have anybody else to change. Sashank asked the same question to me earlier. What can we do different? We don't have anybody. So to answer your question, I think there's been progress, but there's nothing to say good about it yet.
When you guys were talking about Bielsa and everything, like he has a philosophy and pragmatism. All he doesn't have any philosophy right now. He depends on just the quality of these individual players, hoping that they'll perform well. That's why when you see, if they take off one of these starters and put in a substitute, the quality drops massively. That's because he's dependent on the players, not on a particular philosophy. That's the reason. So it's going to be tough for Oli. I like his concept of quick attacks. But the problem is, in this game, if you saw, they did the quick attack. But Bruno, he makes like an unnecessary pass. He takes so many risky passes that leaves them open to counters massively. So if he wants to play a controlling game, they got to be compact and they got to keep the ball. They can't play these random passes continuously to Rashford, to Martial, and then give the ball away. So, and because when they give the ball away, they can't defend the counter attack. So it's just awful. And what do you guys think about the game?
Question. I have a question for.
Yeah.
The question for United fans or anyone in the panel is: do you guys really think new signings, could change the United team, the way they play, or a new manager?
That's exactly what I was going to say, because whatever we are talking right now, whatever Sashank added or VK added, we have spoken about this before. But in reality, what I feel is, guys, this is a bigger problem. How many managers have you sacked since Alex Ferguson? Right?
Not a big
You've progressed, and it was basically taking one step front and 2 steps back, and that's how it's been with United. And also, my only thought is that United are not the club like they were before in terms of, okay, if they're interested in a player, there'll be people running around to say, you know what, I want to join United. Right now, they are trying to get second choice, third choice players. Guys, who would have thought that they would sign Cavani? I know this is a topic for our coming up segment, but still, like, in terms of who they are signing and who they are bringing in, United is not first choice for the Premier League anymore. Right now, the first choice to join in Premier League is Liverpool and City. And then comes Chelsea in a way. So I feel like this is a bigger problem, and the board needs to look at it with a bigger picture.
Chelsea is only because it's Chelsea's in London, but money go in.
The thing about even with the signings, I think United always have signed big players. I really didn't think Van der Beek would have signed for United. Last season I didn't think Fernandes would have signed for United. The way they played before Fernandes and after, it was day and night. The changes, he really made an impact to the team, and I think that is because of his profile. As a player, he made a big difference. But I still think that the way the team was set up against Tottenham was really, really poor. They let the team have 16 shots inside the box. Inside the box was 16 shots. So that for me is poor midfield. You should cut the passing lines before. None of the midfielders, I think Pogba was the one who was defensive and out of the 3 midfielders, and Matic was doing that too, but very unsuccessful. But Fernandes, for any front 3, did not do anything defensively. They let the defense open, midfield open, and that style of play, no matter who you sign, Sancho is not going to help you there. Sancho doesn't do anything defensively. So that either sign someone who you need, where defensively sign someone for Maguire who can control the defense. Sign a goalkeeper. I think you guys have Dean Henderson. Try him out for a bit. He's a very good keeper.
That's what they were doing. Like,
right now.
Bai and Lindelof were considered great centre backs when they were signed.
I still think out of all your defenders, Bai is one of the best defenders there. When he's fit, he can throw in tackles. Van Bissaka is there to throw in tackles. But on the other side,
that's the thing. He throws in a lot of tackles. That's the problem.
See, but when you look at it from a prospect level, Bai is better than Lindelof and Maguire. It's just that Bai is very injury prone, like you said. His knees are made out of glass. One tackle and he's like out for the next couple of weeks.
And for the height Maguire has, he should be clearing air balls way better than that. That is not how you clear air balls.
And another thing, that's why they're still persisting with him, because he's English.
Yeah.
If he was French, I'm pretty sure if he was French or German, they would have definitely deported him right now.
No,
it's also because he's cost 80 million.
While all that was going bad, I think the red card didn't help. I also thought it was a red card, but Eric Lamela deserved a yellow card at least. He did initiate it, so I guess that's the only positive United can get.
No, actually, wait, thank you for bringing that up. I wanted to have that as a discussion. What the hell was VAR doing over there, dude? They gave Martial a red, and 3 minutes later they're giving Lamela a yellow. How does that even make sense? Do you all believe that Lamela did not deserve a red there? Start.
Yeah, I thought he deserved a red because he was the one who started it.
He instigated it, right? It doesn't matter.
The other thing is
hitting someone and a red.
And the other thing is when you're making a decision that can actually change a game. Like, even if you're giving a decision where one team is given a goal, but then you have 11 players on the field, the opponent team still has a chance to level things up. But then when you're taking a player out,
exactly,
you're giving the other team a numerical advantage within 30 minutes of the game. Like for 60 minutes, a team is going to be playing with 10 men. That can significantly change the complexion of a game. Exactly. So I think VAR should have taken a bit more discretion while making the decision. If it's a red for Martial, then it should have been a red for Lamela, because I don't think Martial would have actually punched out or lashed out if Lamela did not. Lamela's one cheeky little one. I don't. I just stopped myself there. I stopped myself over there. Okay. There you go, proper Mourinho player.
Okay, but just to have a quick wind up on that, on your take, just give me a yes or a no. Gautam, do you think Lamela deserved a red there?
He did, but the problem is it depends on how you see it. Okay, I'm not going to look at it, because he did, he instigated. But at the end of the day, no player can actually voluntarily put a hand on somebody. So, the tug of wars that you see in a corner box all the time. That's how I consider the Lamela's action to be. It could have been severe, it could have been voluntary, but I feel like it instigated him to put his hands on. It's similar to what happened with James and Gibbs, where James did a involuntary push on him and Gibbs punched him. Or slapped him, whatever. So that is the exact same scenario with this one too.
Okay, Martin, what is your take? Do you think it's a red for Lamela? Yes or no?
No, I think it was just a yellow for both of them at max.
Okay, yellow for both. That makes sense. Okay, that is still okay.
It's just in a corner when there's 10 people around, everyone's going to be pushing and pulling at each other. The referee, right? Whenever they take a corner, the referee just blows straight to whistle and gives a goal kick. That's it. It's just a simple tug of war. I think it was at max just that much. It should have been a yellow because there was hands involved.
Mani, what about you?
I think it was easy to say both red cards, but in his defense, I think Lamela simulated a lot. That was ugly to watch, but I, again, as Gotham said, it's normal to have that in a box during a corner. You are going to have contacts. You're going to push back players. But slapping someone, it means that you let your control out. That is not someone who, especially Martial is an experienced player. He should have had his anger under control. But yeah, it could have been an easier decision and to say give two red cards. But end of the day, Martial deserved the red card. And Lamela
But
should
the
have
question is
had a
only
red
about
card as
Lamela.
well.
Is it a yes or a no? Would you give Lamela a red or not?
I would have given a red card, yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So
For
I
both,
never got to
yeah.
ask you this. We never spoke about the United game, surprisingly. Not even one tweet, not even one text. What was that for you? Was that a red or a no?
I don't know. I think I agree with Martin. It should have just been 2 yellows and just get on with the game. But I understand
Correct.
Martial, he hit that action where Lamela acted like he pushed him. So it's
Correct.
just, but one thing, as we saw in the All or Nothing documentary, Jose said, don't be good guys, be a bunch of, they were nice, but he took that advice seriously. That's all I have to say.
I think only Lamela was the only one who was listening to Mourinho at that point of time when he was saying that.
Shashank
Lamela was the only one.
F-bombs like Mourinho in our podcast episode.
Okay. Anyway, guys, so thank you for that. It was good to get your view, Mani and Martin, on that. Not the one I expected, or we couldn't say that you would have been biased. Thank you for that. But anyway, let's move on to the final game. Villa versus Liverpool. I think they topped the entire game week with all the results going in different directions, and they said, okay, we're not going to let this go in the right direction. We'll let it go in the wrong direction too. So, Mani and Martin, you guys have to have the first say here. What is your takeoff from this game? Are you going to say it was a bad day for Liverpool, or are you just going to say, I want to give all the appreciation to Villa today, and we're not going to discuss about Liverpool?
So to start with, before talking about Liverpool, I want to mention Aston Villa's team play and the setup. I think they got it exceptionally right. Every single player, 11 versus 11, they had better ones. From goal, every one of man to man, they had better players. Especially Grealish, Barkley, and the new kid, Watkins. Whenever they had the ball, they were looking for the other two players, and they were able to keep the ball until they could find the other player. And that very inexperienced striker, new to Premier League, hasn't scored a goal yet, but he was retaining the ball and Van Dijk and Gomez was trying to tackle him, but he was trying to retain the ball until he could find Grealish or Barkley. And Grealish and Barkley, they played like they've been playing for 10 years together. Their partnership, they looked out for each other. Their runs were excellent. All that. So I think Villa got their tactics right. They outplayed Liverpool completely. But in terms of Liverpool, I think it's one of those games like last season we had with Watford. We are going to have games like that. And I'm glad that it happened so early in the season, rather late. I think that this is a good wake-up call, that our defense can be broken. And if you keep playing high line, even after 5-2, they're going to score 2 more goals on you. That's a lesson right there. But I like the way we didn't give up until even at 5-2, we were trying to attack. Robertson and Salah were excellent. Even they didn't give up at all. And let's not forget, Salah had amazing finishes, both great goals. I know 7-2 kind of took the charm away from that, but second goal of Salah was great. End of the day, 3 deflections, not going to happen in a lot of games. But still, I don't want to take any credit away from Villa. I think they did a great job. Yeah.
Okay. Martin, so what about you? Do you agree with what Mani is saying, or do you have a different perspective of that?
No, like he said first, before talking about Liverpool and their defense and what they lacked, I think credit has to be given to Villa. They had a plan and they stuck to it. It's basically the same plan that I've noticed over the 2 years that any team has. Sit back, they know they're gonna come with their full force at you. They know their full backs are gonna be in your half the entire time. Get the ball and just run straight at their defenders, their centre backs. Just keep running straight. They're prone to make errors. Thrice, 3 times, 4 times, they're going to get the ball. 4th time, either Gomez or Van Dijk is going to make an error, or your wingers are going to run. It's the same tactics that everyone's been doing, and they stuck to it. And they had very high intensity. Like, we lacked energy in that game. They were just too good. I think we took it too lightly because we beat Chelsea, Arsenal, and then everyone thought Chelsea, Arsenal was the game we lose points. And we got through that, and then we came to Villa, and I think we took it too lightly. And yeah, that's it. Like he said, it looked like the front three of Villa were like in sync for the game. They were like, it's like they were playing and Barkley did not look like a new signing. He was just signed like 2 days back, and then he plays like like prime Bergkamp in the middle, playing centre forward, like turning around. I was like, what is Barkley doing? And then 3 deflections, but then in the end you can't take anything away from Villa.
So just to add one small thing to that, I was asked to ask Gautam the first question, Shashank, before you get your opinion. Gautam, have you ever seen Barkley play like that ever on a Chelsea shirt? Has there even been a few minutes of brilliance?
This is what always happens, bro. You know, when we send them out, next day they'll be like performing. I understand why he was performing the way he was performing, because it was against Liverpool, bro, and it is his first game for the club. So being a die-hard Evertonian, I think it was a game for him to showcase. And also one thing we should not forget about this Aston Villa team is their true leader, Jack Grealish. Guys, in today's football, one thing that you cannot see is loyalty. And that guy is a sure example of loyalty and showing that you can do well staying in your club. He was hunted down for this transfer window. He could have put in a transfer request if he wanted to go. There were so many clubs who were interested in signing him. So I feel like he has a lot to contribute, and he is definitely in my fantasy Premier League this week.
And should an English team call up in the cards? Do you think? Should he be in the? Well, I mean, in the starting 11.
Get his call up.
Of course, I think he's
in the starting 11.
10. Yeah, he's the best number 10 they have right now. That's what I feel. I don't know if there's a better number 10 in the English squad right now.
But thing is, he
play left wing.
Exactly.
He prefers to play left wing, so that's the problem with the whole English setup. Because there's Sterling and Rashford, and then on the right there's Sancho, who's not going to be replaced for like till he retires. and then striker there's Kane. So and Grealish, whenever he plays in the center, I think he doesn't feel comfortable. He feels comfortable on the left.
Yeah, that is
where he can use his own finesse shot that he's always doing every game. So I think he prefers playing on the left. That's
also, guys, one person that we don't talk about enough in Aston Villa team is McGinn. He's an absolutely amazing central midfielder. His passes during this game was spot on, and especially the last one-on-one goal that Jack Grealish scored. What a pass mid-air, bro. That was unbelievable. For me to see this guy plays for Aston Villa, I was like, man, bro, amazing play.
Yeah, even last season.
Yeah, and also another thing that I'd like to add, I know we spoke enough about Aston Villa and how they're getting better, especially to add to their Liverpool perspective. Guys, 2 key players, especially when we talk about the spinal cord of Liverpool, we have to talk about the 2 key missings, which is Mane and Alisson. Those 2 players missing, it changes the entire way how Liverpool plays. So I think we should not forget the fact that
we missed Alisson more than Mane though, but because Adrian decided to do that in this game, and the same game Gomez decided to not show up as well. But yeah, it's because
bro, sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, what I want to do is I don't want to say Jota played bad. I think he tried a lot, and he wasn't going to give up until the last moment as well. I think he did a good job pressing. He was pressing very well. But I don't think Fabinho had a good game. Fabinho had a really poor game. That's what happens every time Fabinho has a bad game. Liverpool has a bad game. When he stops putting those tackles in the midfield, our backline gets open. That's a big problem. So yeah, so Thiago comes in very well at that time. So we'll see. Hopefully, Thiago can help us there.
Okay, so before we finish off the segment, Shashank, you wanted to say a few things. You just kept getting forward.
No, that was the Barkley thing. They're always, whenever someone leaves Chelsea, they do really well. But yeah, I guess it's going to be only for a couple of games. I don't know if Barkley's going to be good all season. But I think this was a free game for Liverpool. Mainly, so if Alisson was there, the first mistake would have not occurred, and that game would have not spiraled that way if they had Alisson in the game. So I think that was the first problem for them. And then the deflections part, that's never going to happen again. So I think Liverpool are fine. It's not like the United game where they were pathetic and then they lost the game. It was just that every shot that Villa were hitting was going to go. So and Alisson Adrian wasn't saving any of them. So that was the only problem. So I think Liverpool should be fine after the match.
Okay.
Oh, also, just one thing before that, another one great signing for Villa, Emi Martinez. Wow, what a keeper! And Arsenal is very unlucky that you couldn't have Leno and Martinez, because Martinez is a really good keeper.
Okay, so guys, just to wind up with the segment because we're a little extended towards the time. 4 weeks into the Premier League, who would have thought the only two teams to have an unbeaten 100% win record would have been Everton with Villa? So I think this season, since you guys are all away from India, just a small tip to you guys: if you want to bet on the underdogs, there's a great chance you're going to get some money out of this. So if you guys can, go ahead and do that. But anyway, before the
to add to what you said, there were 6 people who predicted 7-2 Aston. Aston
correct.
Villa win, bro. I don't know who those people are, bro. They had the balls to put in that much money
But
for a
they the ones
7-2.
who placed a bet 6 people, or were the 6 people who made a prediction?
6 people who made a prediction that it will be a 7-2 Aston Villa win.
Okay. So they placed a bet also, basically. That's what you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They placed a bet.
Okay.
Basically.
So this was I still remember there was this one United fan 4 years back. It was 2014, if I'm right. We lost in the League Cup to MK Dons 4-0. Do you guys remember that? So there was one fan who went to sleep and placed a bet while he was going to sleep on United to win 4-0. He wanted to place, but he actually misplaced the bet at being a United fan on MK Dons to win 4-0. And he had an odds of 500-1. I believe he placed £10 on that odds. So, bad day for the booksters, could we say? Okay, guys. Anyway, so to wind up with that, let's move on. Let's get into the final segment, transfers. So we're just going to have a short discussion on Liverpool, United, and Arsenal because we've had a huge discussion on Chelsea earlier and they've not added to it much. Nirushan, you've been fairly quiet this episode. Not something that we see of you. So I want to get you started. How would you sum up Arsenal's transfer window?
Pretty good. With respect to incomings, yeah, but outgoings there should have been like more outgoings. I just hope that it had materialized, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. But with respect to people coming in, it's really good. So we've signed people who can actually who take our team to another level. So that's a positive and not just squad players. I'll talk about Partey in the Saturday's episode, but until then, I'm happy.
Okay. Does anybody want to add to the Arsenal window?
Yeah, we can just get everybody's opinion quickly. But just beginning, I think Partey was the signing of the deadline day. Amazing. I didn't expect that one, that they'll pay up that much money after sacking the mascot. But it's still, it was, I think, an amazing signing. It's a signing that I think every Premier League team would love to have. And he's going to be amazing for Arsenal, no doubt. Now I think maybe Arteta can now play 4-3-3. And, he can protect the centre-backs because you can't play David Luiz alone with some other guys. So I think that's a good signing that they've done. For United, completely awful. Like the only two signings that could be good were Van der Beek was a good signing, really good signing, and Cavani is a wild card. You never know if it's going to work or not going to work. But that's the thing. The problem is they have to address the right wing, and probably a centre back, probably a central defensive midfielder, and they didn't address all these things. So it's going to be a rough season for United.
But just since you mentioned about United, do you think Cavani can even maybe be played on the right to just get those few games through?
No, absolutely not. They should play Rashford or Martial. Maybe Rashford can play on the right or Martial can play, and then they can play that way. But they can't play Cavani anywhere else.
Okay, but that's just what was there, right? Bringing Cavani into the team gives you options to shuffle the players and fill up a few slots. So I think that, again, see, Cavani they're not betting high on him. It's just one season with an option to extend further. So I think it's just like Zlatan. Just get one season.
But he's going to be wearing the number 7 shirt. I was expecting Sancho to come with the number 7 shirt. And look at this.
But again, right, so if giving him the number 7 is not a big deal because it's been vacant for quite a while. So even if he just gets a few good games, a few wins basically, not good games, but if he can get us a few points, nobody's going to complain.
But does that mean Sancho wouldn't come next year too because Cavani signed?
Why would he?
Exactly.
I mean, the question is, why would he?
Hello, why would he not?
No.
I don't want him to, but I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, this was the window to get him. Now it's very, very tough because other teams will come in next season. So
correct. Exactly.
I've lost that. It's done. The Sancho chapter is over. Now let's go get Summer. That's why they got some 2 youngsters now so that they can say for 4 years we don't have to win the title.
Okay, so Sashank, I'll get back to you on that. But guys, just before we wind up, final question. Liverpool have made 3 signings. 2 have already made an impact. We know that they will make an impact. The third, we'll know in time. Do you think these were the three things that Liverpool needed to increase the depth in their squad to retain the Premier League title? Yes or a no, and why? Say yes or a no.
I'd like to start here. I think the three signings that we made are like I felt are perfect to um, boost our team because we needed a forward, like we needed a versatile player who can be brought in as a super sub. Because say when we're at nil all okay at 60 minutes, and last year the people that we got was Origi and I think Minamino after Jan and Shaqiri. So if you see those three names, right, I don't expect them to make a big difference or get the winning goal. So we needed someone like Coutinho, okay, who can produce a goal on his own. He doesn't need anyone's help. Go there, go at a defender, get a goal on your own. We needed someone like that, and I think Jota has that quality. He's very direct. He takes shots anywhere he feels he's confident about shooting. We need someone like that to get a sneaky goal into it to win those 1-0 games. And Thiago and Simicas are like perfect. Thiago, I don't need to explain how good he is. He's gonna boost any team that he joins in. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with what we did. I would have expected a centre back, but still I'm happy with Gomez and Van Dijk.
Okay. Money?
Yeah, I think all three of them were smart signings. And Costas, we haven't seen him yet, but Thiago we all know. And the first game he played against Chelsea, although it was 10 men, I think class all over. I mean, passes, control was amazing. And Jota, coming back to the 45 million for Jota was an amazing money. I think you at this time signing a player like Jota for that small of a money. I know 45 is a lot, but still for a player profile like Jota, I think playing from Wolves, Portuguese, first team player, great signing, I think, and he has goals in him all day. He can control the ball, but above all, his pressing is. He comes into this Liverpool team and he can press better than Firmino, and that is something we need. That is a long-term solution. So that's a very smart signing.
I think you're right with that. 45 is a lot of money, but for the inflated market today, it's a very good value signing.
Yeah.
I'd just like to add, the 45 million is actually over 4 years. We paid only 5 to 6 million right now.
Exactly, right? Why were Wolves so bad, dude? I don't think even Ed Woodward is so bad at the moment. Why would you give away such a good player?
Wolves,
and when you know Liverpool cannot pay up, why would you tell them, it's okay, don't give me money? Why would you do that?
I mean, we signed Thiago the same way as well. Thiago was the same kind of signing. Yeah. It was money up front for the first year and then divided over the years.
Yeah, Thiago was a different situation. Plus, you have all 15 to 20 million given up front. Plus, you have the add-ons, which is always a possibility.
No, they didn't pay anything up front.
Though we didn't pay anything for Thiago or Jota. It was all
Thiago is nearly 15 to 20 is up front.
No. We paid 5 million for Thiago up front and 4 million for Jota. That's it, up front. And then we sold our Kijana over to.
They basically put bro. They'll do EMIs. But bro, I mean, as one thing they were missing, I feel, is a centre back, bro. No matter what people say, it's an ideal signing. Yes, they're missing a centre back, and it is true that they replacement for Mane, but would be a key game changer. If Gomez is injured now, I don't know if maybe Fabinho will be playing centre back. That's the only other option because Keita fits in well, but I don't see anybody else helping out in that space.
Okay, I think we will know as the season progresses how bad Liverpool are at the back. That is, if they do need a CB to fill up that void and win the Premier League and retain it again, I mean. Anyway, guys, so thank you for your views. Thank you for your opinions. And I expected more feelings, more emotion, more abuses. But it was a fairly quiet session compared to what was expected. So anyway, thank you for that. And Mani and Martin, thank you guys for being here. We would like to see you here more often, but we're going to give you a long break. The next time you come back, it'll be again for a Liverpool defeat. So don't ever expect to come here for a win. And anyway,
I don't think I'll be coming back then. So we'll see you guys next season.
That's okay. We'll try to something done. And anyway, Sashank, thank you for making time out in spite of your busy schedule. Okay, Naresh and Gautam, thank you guys for being here, and I look forward to seeing you guys. And viewers, if you do like the episode, if you would like to support the channel, do like the video and subscribe to our channel. And I'll see you guys all soon. Good night, boys.